Let me tell you a story about a man who measured worth in square footage and dollar signs, and the woman who measured it in cups of sugar and acts of kindness. His name was Leo. He was a real estate developer, a man who built towers of glass and steel that scraped the sky. Her name was Clara. She was a dreamer, a woman whose greatest ambition was to build a small bakery, a place filled with the warm, sweet smell of bread and cakes. When they were married, Leo would often pat her head and call her bakery dream a charming little hobby. He told her it wasn't a real business. It wouldn't make real money. He wanted a wife who fit into his world of high finance and glittering parties, not one whose hands were dusted with flour. So eventually he left. He walked out of their small apartment and into a life of cold, polished marble, convinced he had outgrown her. But Clara did not crumble. She took her heartbreak, her recipes, and her quiet, unshakable strength, and she opened the Humble Crumb. It was a tiny shop with a bright blue door, and while Leo was busy hosting parties in penthouses, Clara was working. She worked before the sun rose and long after it set. Her hands were always busy, her heart always in her work. And a beautiful thing happened. That little bakery, it didn't just survive, it blossomed. One shop became two, two became 10. The Humble Crumb became a beloved name, a secret empire built not on loud boasts, but on the quiet consistency of goodness. Clara became the silent CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, all while Leo remained completely unaware. Years drifted by. Leo, now chairing the city's most prestigious charity gala, was reviewing the vendor list. His eyes skimmed over the usual names, the famous caterers, the elite event planners, and then he saw it. The Humble Crumb was providing the desserts. A cold, smug smile touched his lips. He remembered the little shop, the simple dream he had mocked, and a cruel idea took root in his mind. He wouldn't just let her company cater from the shadows. Number. He sent a specific, condescending request that the owner herself, Clara, should personally deliver the evening's grand finale cake to the main auction hall. He wanted her to walk into that room of diamonds and designer suits, wearing a baker's apron to serve him. He wanted to see her feel small. He wanted a public final proof that he had been right all along. When Clara received the request, she was in her office, which overlooked a massive, spotless production facility bearing her logo. She read the email, and a small, knowing smile graced her lips. She typed a simple reply, "It would be my pleasure." The night of the gala was everything Leo loved. Crystal chandeliers, the clink of champagne flutes, the murmur of important people. He stood on the stage as the auctioneer, the center of attention. The bidding was fierce, the amount staggering, and as the final, most luxurious item was sold, he saw his moment. He cleared his throat, a smirk playing on his face. Into the microphone, he said, "And now, my friends, a sweet treat to finish this magnificent evening. I've asked for a very special delivery. Let's welcome the owner of that delightful little bakery, the Humble Crumb, Clara, who has kindly agreed to bring out our dessert herself." He gestured grandly toward the kitchen doors, expecting to see a hesitant woman in a flour-smudged apron. The doors swung open, but the woman who walked out was not the Clara he remembered. She stood tall and poised, dressed in a stunning, elegant pantsuit that spoke of authority, not service. She wasn't carrying a cake. She was leading a small team of assistants who wheeled out a masterpiece of sugar and art, a cake so magnificent it drew a collective gasp from the crowd. Before Leo could process this, before he could form a single word, the head of the charity committee, a formidable woman named Mrs. Evelyn, stood up and strode to the stage, taking the microphone from his limp hand. "My dear friends," Mrs. Evelyn announced, her voice ringing with joy, "what a wonderful surprise. It seems our anonymous angel, our most generous benefactor, has decided to step out of the shadows tonight." She turned, her gaze warm and respectful, toward Clara. This woman, the brilliant founder and CEO of the humble crumb empire, is the one who single-handedly funded our new children's wing with a donation of $500,000. She is our patron, our hero. Let us give a proper welcome to Clara. The applause was thunderous. It was a wave of respect and admiration that washed over the room, and it completely drowned Leo. He stood frozen on the stage, the spotlight that had once been his now feeling like an interrogation lamp. The quaint little bakery was a national empire. The hobby was a multi-million-dollar enterprise. The woman he had invited to humiliate was the guest of honor. He had tried to make her his servant, and instead he had handed her the stage for her greatest triumph. Clara accepted the applause with a graceful nod. Her eyes met Leo's across the room. There was no anger in her gaze, no gloating. There was only a calm, quiet victory. She had not needed to say a word to him. Her success, her generosity, her sheer class had spoken for her. It was the most powerful silence he had ever heard. That night, Leo learned a hard lesson. True worth isn't found in the height of your buildings, but in the depth of your character. And sometimes the most powerful revenge is not a loud confrontation, but a quiet, resounding success that leaves no room for doubt about who you truly are. Clara had built her empire one humble crumb at a time, and in one unforgettable night, she showed the world that those small, simple ingredients can create a legacy that towers over anything made of mere glass and steel. And the taste of that victory was sweeter than any cake.